Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany, and welcome to the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow virtual farm tour. We are so excited that you're joining us today as we not only tour a dairy farm, but also explore careers in the dairy industry by meeting a few dairy professionals who work with our dairy farmers. First, for anyone that is new to Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow, this program is provided by the Dairy Excellence Foundation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and is available to students and teachers across the country. The Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program is a comprehensive program designed specifically for high school students to prepare them for careers in the dairy industry. Using a three-part model, Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow offers classroom curriculum, scholarships for students and teachers, and on-farm experiences just like this virtual tour. We welcome you to check out the website at www.dairyleadersoftomorrow.com to learn more about the program and see if that curriculum would work for you and your classroom. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you'll see that chat feature is enabled, and we've been saying hello to everybody. Right now, I can see a third grade class from Columbus is with us today. I can see that some of you folks have adopted Lola from the Adopted Cow program. There's actually 3 different Lola calves in the program, so it's possible you each have a different Lola. I can see Mrs. Nichols' class from Lake City, Michigan is with us. Hello, everybody. And I can see we've got Josie, who's 9 years old. So welcome everyone. And there's lots of other ones that I know that are up further that have joined us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you. We hope you learn a lot. We are just excited to hear from you. Please use that chat feature throughout the tour today. You can ask questions, you can comment, and Farmer Melissa and all the other professionals on the farm will be excited to answer live for you. This afternoon, we are visiting a dairy farm in the northeast region of Pennsylvania called Whitenight Family Farm. And Whitenight Family Farm is owned and operated by the Whitenight family in Orangeville, Pennsylvania, where they house 30 milking cows in a double herringbone parlor. Farmer Melissa not only cares for her cows and produces milk on the farm, but they also actually sell cheese and raw milk right from the farm. Today, we will get to peek into their milk processing procedure and take a quick tour of the farm. So without further ado, we are going to kick off our virtual farm tour today by meeting Farmer Melissa Whitenight, who will share the background of their farm as well as take you on a tour around the farm. Hey, Farmer Melissa, take it away.
Thanks, Brittany. It's good to see everyone today or have everyone join us. We're here at our cheese hut, we call it, at the farm. We have a couple coolers here for people to come and visit us and to serve themselves whenever it's convenient for them. We have gallons and half gallons. Cheese, 6 different varieties of cheese. And we're just excited to have everybody here and to learn just a little more about our operation and more about our farm today.
Awesome. I know we're excited to learn, and there's looks like lots of goodies in there. So is that where people can come if they want to visit your farm and they can come get your products? Is that what the cheese hut is?
That is the cheese hut, and it is open 24/7. So there are no hours. It's whenever it's convenient for people to come. It's self-serve. We offer some other things for people to pick up when they're getting their milk and their cheese. There's honey, there's local syrup, and we even have some kombucha too. So we have an offering of a bunch of healthy things for people to complete their healthy, nutritious diet.
Awesome. That's a great place to start, and you're making me very hungry, especially since we haven't eaten lunch. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so it's making me very hungry.
Oh, Brittany, yeah, we got some good stuff here, and even if you're not a milk drinker, there are things that we can make and bake with milk, macaroni and cheese, and the cheese we have in the cheese hut, grilled cheese, and just custard and ice cream. So we have a lot of folks that like to drink milk, but they also like to do some cooking and baking with. So would you like us, Brittany, to move on into the milk house and we'll show you where, so this is the end product, the milk and cheese we have, but the process starts over here in our barn. We're just gonna have our essential milking equipment. So we have the bulk tank, is a big refrigerated tank that our milk is stored into. And here at Whitenight Family Farm, we ship some of the milk that we produce to a co-op, but then we also direct market a portion of the milk for our on-farm sales. And we also have sales that I deliver to different farmers markets, grocery store, convenience stores even carry our products. So here in the milk house, you can see there's a lot of stainless steel. We have a lot of sinks because we're always working to keep the equipment clean and it to be a very clean environment. From the milk house, we can step into our bottler capper room. And it's a small space. Are and have it disassembled right now.
I was gonna say, just make sure our camera
Are
team
we
stays
okay,
in the
Brittany?
door. Yep, we just gotta make sure we stay in the doorway because I think we lose service a little bit when we go in. So yep.
Oh, can you? Okay, so we have the bottler capper. It's a single fill bottler. Manually, for customers, we can do fill pints, quarts, we do half gallons and gallons. And so in this room, we're able to do all the bottling for the sales off the farm. So it's not a big facility, but it sure works well, and it's a clean space for us to get product ready for our customers.
That
So
sounds wonderful.
Moving from here, we'll go on. Great. Moving from here, we're going to walk on through the milk house and our utility room into our milking area. So in here at Whitenight Family Farm, you can see the girls in the background there. Oh, they are curious. And we got one kiddo at the end. She's chewing away. But here at our parlor, because we walk down and the cows are level with us. So it's a double 4 herringbone. And what it means is we can have 4 cows on each side of the parlor, and their noses go off towards the wall, and their udder side comes closest to us. So that makes it a lot easier for us to clean the cows, to prep them, to get them ready for the milkers to come off. Then we're able to get them ready to go back out into the alley to eat and to rest. But this is our facility. It's not, but it works, and it is sure comfortable and bright and airy for the cows.
It does look really comfortable in there. And I do apologize, Farmer Melissa. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I think your video is freezing quite a bit. We're hearing most of what you're saying, but I think we're losing you going into the parlor, which honestly happens a lot when we go into a parlor. We know there's a lot of metal and things going on, but you have a lot of really good stuff to say, and I want you to be able to say it. So hopefully we can just find a spot that maybe we can hear you a little bit better. And then I know we do have a little bit of recorded video of where you actually milked a cow and took some video footage for us so we could see that. So we can always go to that too once you give us a little overview of what the parlor does and what it's like for the cows. So go ahead.
Sure. So is this better, Brittany? Can you hear me pretty good? I'm standing here in the doorway of the milk parlor. And great. So do you need the camera going now?
You're good.
Okay. And so as we look into the pit, we can see where the cows stand. And as you go down in, you can see the milking units. They're in wash right now, so they're not being used. But when we get ready to milk the cows, those units will come out of the little rubber jetter cups. And we've got one unit over there that's already out because we had a tour earlier and we could show people. And so we have some things there. We get the cows ready to milk. Every cow gets her own washcloth, so we wipe her off. We use a curry comb. If she has any sawdust on her legs, we get her all cleaned up that way. Then the washcloth is used to wash the udder and make sure that's good and clean. And after we use the washcloth, then we go on and we strip each quarter. And we use a strip cup to inspect the milk to make sure that the milk from each quarter looks healthy. And after stripping, then we use a pre-dip. And that's just an iodine dip that we would put on each one of the cow's teats to make sure we've cleaned all the germs off. And we leave that pre-dip on for about 30 seconds. And then it gets wiped off with a paper towel. And then we're ready to go ahead and put the milker on. And I know in the video we talked about the milkers, it's vacuum, a lot like a vacuum cleaner creates suction. And so the vacuum from the milker is put on and it milks the cows that way. So we don't have to milk our cows by hand. We've got units that do that job for us.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So this process of milking you've been talking about, it sounds like a lot going on, but in reality, it's a pretty calm and relaxing experience for the cows, right?
They like to come in. They're usually ready. They have their friends with them. They come in. It only takes a few minutes and then they're finished up and they can go back out. They can lay down if they choose to. They can go over to our feed bunk and grab something to eat. And we'll go out into the barn if you're ready, and we'll take a look at the girls as they're resting and eating over in the hoop barn.
So while you guys work your way over there, I'm actually going to go ahead and show them that milking video that we were talking so much about so they can see what it looks like for a cow to be milked. So I'm going to turn your camera off and mute you guys to show them that video. And then when you hear me again, go ahead and throw your camera and video and unmute yourselves. But I'm going to go ahead and show everybody that video so you can see just how it happens when a cow is milked on the Farmer Melissa's farm. So we're going to go ahead and get that up for you. Here we go.
Good morning. We're here at Whitenight Family Farm and we're just getting ready to milk. We're starting out with our Guernsey, and as you can see we also have Jerseys in the herd, and behind me we have Ayrshires also. So our herd is made up of colored breeds, and we're milking from a double four herringbone in a pit parlor, which means we can bring in 4 cows on either side. The cows stand at an angle with their backsides closest to us, which makes it a lot easier for when we prep the cows. So here at Whitenight Family Farm, we're a raw milk dairy, which means our milk is not pasteurized and it is not homogenized. So we take extra care to make sure our animals are really clean. So what I'm doing right now is we use cloth washcloths to prep the cows, and we're washing the udders, the teat, and paying special attention to the teat ends to make sure that we have everything off. And if need be, we use a curry comb and we curry off the legs. So our cow is white. We next use a strip cup, and you can see it has a screen on it, and that is for the pour stripping. That's stripping before we put the milker on to check the health and quality of the milk before we put the milker on. So we can see if there's anything abnormal or unusual about the milk, and if there is, then we know that that milk is not fit to be put in the tank. So the next thing we do after washing and stripping, we're going to use a pre-dip, which is an iodine dip that we put on each teat, and that's to further clean the surface before milking. So we let that out there a few seconds, and then each cow gets a paper towel and we wipe off the pre-dip. And we're ready to put the milker on. So the milkers we use, we have a display. Our milking units are not as high tech as some, but they do help us in showing us the amount of milk that each animal gives, the flow rate, That is how quickly the milk is being let down. And the time. So that gives us an idea of each animal, how much she milks, how quickly she milks, and how long it'll take. So if an animal is milked out quicker than usual, then we know to go back and check. Maybe the milker wasn't placed correctly. But this all ensures the health and ease of milking the cow. Now, as you can see, the milker is placed on the cow. You can see the milk coming through the claws into what we call the sight glass. From the sight glass, it's drawn through the hoses down into the stainless steel pipe that runs over to our weigh tank. And then from there, the sensor detects when it's full and it pumps it up the stainless steel pipe and over to the bulk tank. So the milk is never touched by hand. The milker, as you can see it pulsating and the milk going in, it runs from vacuum. Think of your vacuum cleaner and the suction that the vacuum cleaner creates. It's very similar to the suction and the vacuum that's created in the milker. So it gently creates the suction and pulling that draws the milk, and that's how we have an automatic milker, so we don't have to milk by hand.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Farmer Melissa. That was really cool to watch the cows get milked and just kind of see that whole experience. It was very calming and very relaxing and just very rhythmic. So I know that was a lot of fun for me to watch. And so we're excited to come back and join you now again. There we go. Hi, Farmer Melissa.
Hey, Brittany. Hey, we're
and
back here.
We are. And hey, I just got to say, your dog, that little debut in the video was pretty darn cute that she got their own little debut in the video.
That little guy, his name is Jake, and he joins us every morning for milking. So that, yes, he did. He made the video. So yeah, we're back here at the farm, and it was great that we could share the milking video. And we're just gonna take a quick look at the girls. They're now out in the bed pack, just kind of hanging out. It's a warm day. We have the fans on. So the girls, they can go in the bed pack. It's soft like a mattress. They can lay down, they can walk around. And when they feel like it, when they get hungry, they want a snack, they come on over to the feed alley, and we have feed available for them throughout the day. So we have our silage and we have haylage for them to eat. Twice a day, they get grain, and that's what's in that wagon. To the far end has grain in it, and they'll get a little bit of grain twice a day to eat. But today, with it being warm, it's just a lot more comfortable for the girls. And so they're just kind of hanging out, like, like we like to do with our families and our friends, just eat, lounge a little bit. And then what we do is in the evenings, when it's cooler and more comfortable for the cows, they get to go outside in the green pastures and hang out there.
Oh, I'm sure they enjoy both, hanging out outside. And I mean, that barn looks pretty darn comfortable, and it's where their food is. So they're obviously going to love being in there to get their food and fresh air.
Oh, they like to hang out with their friends. You bet.
And if you don't mind reminding us, I think you had said it earlier, but what kind of breed of cow are we looking at right now?
Okay, so in front of us, we have the Jerseys are the cows that are all brown. They have a little bit of dark around their eyes or around their ears. The ones that are white and like a reddish color, so we have some Guernseys in here, and we also have a few Jerseys, or excuse me, Ayrshires too.
Very cool.
So we have 3 different breeds. So that's what we see in the herd today.
And I think we're seeing this light little sneak peek of another animal that might be laying there. Do you want to introduce who that is as well?
So this is Irma Jean. She is kind of like our farm mascot. So Ermagene is a Katahdin sheep she kind of is a little confused. She thinks she's a dairy cow, and she hangs out with the dairy cows and goes out to the pasture and comes in the evening with them. But she is one of their friends, one of their buddies.
Aw, she is super
And I
cute.
bet you can see some of those farm cats in here too. They all like to hang out. It's so comfortable in the barn. Everybody wants to be here.
It is very comfortable in the barn. It looks like a lot of fun here. Now, while we're with the cows, we do have a couple of questions coming in, and one was just to recap on that milking process. How long does it take to milk one cow?
Ooh, that's a really, really good question. Well, every cow is different. And so some of the cows will milk out in like 2 minutes. And then some of our large Guernsey cows, that's the spotted cows, they can take up to 10 minutes, which is a really long time, but that is their normal. That's their normal. So everybody's a little bit different, but yeah, I'd say between 2 and then at the other end, 10 minutes.
Wow. So, you say really long as in 10 minutes, but I'm sure there's some folks watching that maybe they thought it was an all day thing. So it's just 10 minutes of their time, twice a day, which is incredible.
Oh, not long at all, is it?
No, not compared to a whole day. And then the whole rest of the day, they get to just hang out in their pen and eat and drink. And they live the life.
They do. They have it pretty good. I'm telling you.
Awesome. So go ahead. You can continue down. Actually, while the camera is down there, I think we're looking at some hay. And someone had asked a question. What's the difference between silage and haylage?
Ooh, good question. So haylage is what we're looking at right now, and that is grass hay. So that could be an alfalfa grass or a timothy grass, depending on what type of grass it is. It's mowed, and then it's chopped, and then it's put in, we do a round bale. So those big marshmallows that are out in the field, that's actually grass, and it's fermenting and curing in that big plastic wrap, kind of like putting a sandwich in a Ziploc bag to keep your sandwich fresh. That wrap keeps our hay fresh. And then yeah, it is. And then the silage down here at the other end of the barn that the cows are eating. So silage is the corn plant, and that is the entire plant. That's the stalk, the tassel, the leaves, the ear, the husk, everything. So it gets chopped up and it gets blown into a big long bag. Some farms, they blow it up into a silo. But here at Whitenight Family Farm, we have a white bag that it gets blown into, and there it ferments. So the starches turn into sugars, and it makes it really sweet and tasty for the cows. Lots of carbohydrates in there, and these girls are performers. So they have the silage to eat, which gives them the carbohydrates, the sugar, the energy. They have the haylage to eat, and that has the fiber and protein that they need. And then we also sometimes offer them dry hay and grain too, because just like us, we need a balanced diet. So do these girls.
Right. Absolutely. Very, very cool. And I think the camera was actually showing us that really long caterpillar looking thing that it was storing your feed, correct? Is that what we were seeing?
That's a good yes, that is a good explanation of that long tube. And it's full of chopped up corn silage. And so we'll use that throughout the winter time. When there's no more green pasture to have the cows eating, they'll have that fresh corn silage to eat all winter long. And again, that bag is kind of like a great big Ziploc bag that keeps their food nice and fresh for them.
Very cool. So Farmer Melissa, what else do you have to show us today on the farm?
So we have over in the feed bunk alley, so we have the food in front of them, but those red and yellow things over there, those are actually waterers. It's like a big water fountain. So just like when we're out playing or working, we get thirsty. Well, so do these girls. Cows drink a lot of water. And so we have these waterers that are available for them to, like a fountain. They can walk up and get a drink anytime they want. Fresh water from the automatic waters. They have the feed alley that they're in, and this scrape alley gets cleaned twice a day. Just like we need to clean our room, our rooms get messy. So the cow's living space gets messy, and we make sure that we clean that for the cows. And the bed pack where they lay down, where they lounge, where they hang out, that gets rototilled. So it's kind of like fluffing your sheets and making your bed. We, the farmers, do that for the cows, so they're just always comfortable and clean.
Very cool. And that water sounds like very refreshing water 24/7. I'm sure that helps
yes,
milk production, correct?
It does.
And their
They
health.
need lots of water. Yeah, yeah. And even when they're out in the pasture, Brittany, they have fresh water. We have hydrants, and water is out for it. So they don't have to walk far at all to get a fresh, cool drink.
Very cool. Awesome. So the next stop on our tour, are we going to get to see any calves or anything like that?
Yeah, I forgot about the babies. Sure.
Oh
so
my
these,
goodness.
I know. How could I forget that? So the girls here in the barn are all moms, all hardworking moms, and we help because they're busy working. So we take care of their kids for them, and their kids, or calves, are housed over here in hutches. So each baby gets their own little hutch to live in, and each hutch has plenty of straw for a nice, comfortable bed for the calves. Each hutch has water and hay and grain, so they have always something to eat if they want a snack. And we have an exercise spot, so they don't have to stay at, who wants to stay in the house all day? You want to get out in the fresh air and the sunshine. So we have these exercise panels on each one of the hutches, so the calves can go in and lay down, take a nap, or they can come out in the sunshine. So we have each hutch helps to keep everybody healthy. That way, if somebody gets a cold, they don't spread their germs to their neighbor. So that's why you'll see the hutches are spaced out. But that's for their health, just like we do at school. A lot of things to stay healthy. And so these are a few things we as farmers do to help the babies stay healthy. Now, these calves, they get milk. I know I said they have hay and they have grain and they have water in their hutches, but twice a day we come out and we bottle feed the babies their mom's milk. So they get a bottle twice a day, in conjunction with all the other good things they have to eat.
Oh my goodness, this one looks like it's smiling for us.
That one was just born. That is a teeny tiny, one of a twin. And so, so she is a sweetheart. She's just a little thing.
Oh my goodness. So we had a question while we're out here with the babies. How long do the babies stay with their moms, and what's that process like on the farm, and why do you do what you do?
All right. Well, the calves, after they're born, we do take them and put them in a hutch. We make sure they have a vaccine so that they don't pick up any germs that could make them really, really sick. We make sure they're fed. Sometimes they'll get if we don't find them right away, they've already gotten a snack from their mom, but they always get their mom's milk. The first couple of feedings are always their mom's milk because their mom is the best milk for them. So they get their milk, and then they get their very own hutch so that we can keep an eye on them to make sure that they're comfortable, that they're eating enough, and that if there's any little problem that comes up, we can catch it right away.
Very good. Yeah, because I guess their immune systems are pretty much don't exist when they're this little, right? So you got to be really careful and cautious with them.
They are babies. Yep, they need a lot of care and a lot of looking after.
Very cool. Well, so Farmer Melissa, you have been wonderful. We have a couple of questions we're going to try and sneak in here real quick before we go off to our first professional, which will actually be a veterinarian. So I know there was someone on here who said they would love to be a veterinarian someday. So our veterinarian's our first professional we're going to get to chat with. But before we hop over to her, we do have a couple of really great questions that we wanted to get answered real quick. So first, they were just wondering, how much milk do you get from a cow when you do milk them? So we found out it takes about 2 to 10 minutes to milk them, but about how much milk do they provide each milking?
Oh, well, good question. So how much milk does a cow give? Well, that really depends on the animal. Some of them give a lot of milk and some of them not as much. So our really good milkers give about, let me put it this way. So when we talk about milk, we usually talk about pounds, how many pounds a cow gives in milk. And we have some that give 40 pounds one milking or 80 pounds a day. And then if you divide that by roughly 8, then you can figure out how many gallons that is. So
Right.
some of the girls are giving like 4 gallons or more.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. That's why we make sure that they have plenty to eat and plenty to drink because they are working hard for us.
Awesome. Wow. So that's definitely that's where your milk is coming from in school or whether it's in your refrigerator or wherever it may be. So thank you, Farmer Melissa, for feeding those cows really good so we can have healthy, nutritious milk. We had another
Uh,
question when we were checking out the ladies, the mature cows eating. They noticed that some had some yellow tags in their ears. What are those yellow tags for?
So the yellow tags, they help us identify the cows because I don't know if they notice, but some of those girls look an awful lot alike. So we need, so we need help, and because they're all individuals, and we want to make sure we care for them and their specific needs. So that ear tag helps us stay on track with how old that animal is, how many babies she's had, um, maybe if she's had any concerns, any health concerns, we can keep track, and that's our way of keeping straight all the information on that cow. So it just
Very
helps
cool.
us organize all the information on each animal because they are so important to us.
Very cool. Um, that makes sense because they definitely look a lot alike, especially those jerseys who are
They
all marked
they
very similarly.
they do. They are. Some of them are very different, but some of them are a lot alike. And there's several cows out there. So to remember all the information on each one of those cows, it's hard sometimes. So
Right.
that's why we have those ear tags. It helps us keep track.
That makes sense. And it's kind of like just a piercing, right? Like just if a human would get an ear
Oh, yeah.
piercing and it's just super simple.
Very simple. Yep. They don't even mind it. No, not at
Awesome.
all.
Awesome. So we had one other question that came in and they asked, when do the calves get to interact with each other? So obviously they start on their own because they're developing their immune system, but when do they get to live together?
Oh, good. That is, I love these questions. So when the calves are done, when they're done eating from a bottle, we say they're weaned. Okay, so they're still eating their grain, they're eating their hay, they're drinking lots of water, but they no longer need the nutrition from milk. So we take about 8 weeks. That's about 2 months old. Now, if they're little, like that little calf that we visited on the end, that little girl might stay in her hutch for like 3 months. So, but about 8 weeks, we move the cows, we transition the babies, they no longer need milk, and then they get to go in a group with a whole bunch of friends. So they all hang out together.
Very cool. Very cool. So then in the rest of their life, they get to live with everybody. I mean, the rest of the
Oh, yeah.
time they're on the farm, they live with all their friends.
They like to hang out in groups. You bet.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Farmer Melissa. We will, I know there might have been a couple other questions that might have come in, but we will have time with you at the end. We're going to chat with our couple of professionals that are on your farm that you work with on the daily or on the weekly. We're going to chat with them first, and then we'll come back to you at the end. So if there's any other questions you have for Farmer Melissa, we'll make sure to answer those at the end. But thank you so much, Farmer Melissa. This was a really great little tour of your farm, and it was, of course, great to see those cute calves. But we are going to hop over to our veterinarian, I believe. So thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, Brittany. Thanks.
All right. So let's see if we can get our veterinarian to come up on board and get our other camera moving here. So while we transition to them, again, feel free to use that chat if you have any questions for Farmer Melissa or for our next person that's up. Then if you have any questions for them, you can ask away and that chat feature will do our best to get to you. And with our veterinarian, we have a special guest that's with us today. And that is going to be our Pennsylvania State Dairy Princess, Michaela Davis. And Michaela is going to introduce who our veterinarian is. So, Michaela, it is great to see you. How are you?
Hi, Brittany. I'm great. I'm so glad to be on the farm today. Like she said, my name is Michaela Davis, and I am your Pennsylvania State Dairy Princess. I come from a farm in Berks County, Pennsylvania. And with me today is Dr. Jody. And Dr. Jody is a vet. So just like you and I might get sick, cows also get sick. So Jody comes out to these farms and she takes care of these cows. So Jody is going to talk all about what she does as her career and how she takes care of the cows. So thanks for joining us, Jody.
Awesome, Jody. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. And Jody, we actually have some folks on here who told us in the chat that they are interested in being veterinarian one day. So I know we have a lot of very tuned in people here to listen to you. So go ahead and take it away. We're really excited to have you today.
Great. Well, I just want to say thank you to Michaela for the introduction, and thanks for letting me be here with you today. Like she said, my name is Dr. Jody Cull. I own and operate Valley Mobile Veterinary Service, which is based out of Montour County, Pennsylvania. I am the veterinarian on record here for the Whitenight Family Dairy Farm, as well as the farm you toured earlier today. As my job, my role is actually as a food animal veterinarian, and there's lots of different veterinarians that are out there in the world. You might think of your small animal veterinarian that you take your dog and your cat to. You might think of an equine veterinarian that takes care of horses. Well, I would classify myself as a food animal veterinarian. And so while I do take care of dairy cows, I take care of all of the animals we would consider as food species. So that would be dairy and beef cows, sheep and goats, llamas, alpacas, deer, elk, buffalo, and I've even worked on a camel before. So I get around to a lot of the species. I do also work on pigs. So when you think of those animals, we tend to think of animals that have two toes. That would exclude our horses, so exclude our farm animals, as well as our small animals, our companion animals. It takes a lot of work, and I know that you said that we have a lot of people with us today that are interested in animal science and veterinary medicine. It takes a lot of work to become a veterinarian. I grew up on a dairy farm in Chester County, so the southeastern part of the state, and I knew I always wanted to be a veterinarian growing up. I liked being around the cows, and I liked my farmers that I would get to interact with when I was in 4-H. But you don't need to do that to be a veterinarian. What you really need to do to be a veterinarian is to study hard in school. And I know I might sound like your mom when you're saying that, but that's really true. It takes a lot of studying and a lot of coursework focused heavily on science and math, biology, chemistry, and even some physics and some calculus in order to get into veterinary school. So when you graduate from high school, you're going to go to your undergraduate school. You're going to spend your 4 years to get your undergraduate degree. It doesn't need to be in pre-veterinary science. Any type of major, as long as you meet the prerequisites, whether it's biology, chemistry, or even English, as long as you meet that prerequisite to then apply for veterinary school. Once you apply to veterinary school and get in, veterinary school is another 4 years of schooling after your undergraduate school. At that point, you are a veterinarian. You did it. And honestly, you are the same as your medical doctor, your human doctor that you go to see when you're healthy and when you're sick. Sometimes as a veterinarian, you could do a little bit extra schooling on top of that in order to specialize. And then you would be somebody like a cardiologist or a surgeon. But I stayed as a general practitioner. As a food animal veterinarian, I get to travel around the area. I cover 6 counties. I do drive a lot. I drive about 30,000 miles a year, visiting all kinds of different farms. Every day is different in my schedule. I do tend to start my day pretty early in the morning. So you got to be a morning person and get up before the sun rises. I tend to hit the road sometimes as early as 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
pretty early. I know, you got to set your alarm clock for that one. But if you think about it, my farmers are in the barn taking care of their animals, and they're going to be interacting with them, and I'm going to be there at the same time.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. It does sound like a lot of schooling, but I'm sure you would say it's very rewarding, and you've already seemed very enthusiastic about your job, and we cannot wait to see and learn about what you've got on this table. So go ahead, Dr. Cole, and let us know what's going on here.
Yeah, so a lot of my job, I brought a few goodies here. So a lot of my job is actually routine herd preventative work. You know, you think of that you go to the doctor when you're sick, and I take care of the animals when they're sick, but we don't want to be sick, right? We want to be healthy. And so that involves routine visits from the veterinarian or visiting your doctor as well. Part of that routine visit with my farms is knowing whether or not the cow is pregnant. She has to have a baby and have a calf in order to make milk. And that's what we want these girls to be able to do for us. So I use an ultrasound to determine whether or not they're pregnant. It's just like the ultrasound you might have had, or somebody else in our audience might have had if they've gone to the hospital, except it's a little more compact and a little portable. So I have it sitting out here today, and it kind of looks like an alien when I put it on. And I won't put it completely on because I'm already wearing a headset, but I wear this on my head. And then I've got two little TV screens in here. And so I can see through these goggles the image that I'm ultrasounding with the cow. I do have my ultrasound here. And this is my computer and my rechargeable battery pack. I wear that in a small fanny pack around my waist. It only weighs about 2 pounds, so I don't even know I'm wearing it when I'm walking around the farm. And then I can keep my equipment safe from getting injured or damaged around the cows. I use the ultrasound probe to see the image that's going to come up on those goggles I was showing you. And then I can see whether or not that cow is pregnant or not, and what we might need to do to keep her healthy through that pregnancy. You might be saying, well, hey, Dr. Cull, I got ultrasounded on my belly. Is that what you do to the cows? And that's not exactly what I do. A lot of people may have seen this if you watch any of the online TV veterinary shows, but what I use is actually a long shoulder sleeve here, and I hold my probe like this. And like I told my students earlier today, this is a rectal exam. So I am going to go up the rectum of the cow. And you might be saying, oh, that's gross. You're going to get poopy. And I do. I get pretty poopy in my job, but I wear a plastic sleeve. I wear plastic gloves. I wear plastic boots so we can wash and disinfect after animals. And when I go to leave the farm, we can estimate, I've been a veterinarian now for 17 years, and we can estimate that I've done over 1.5 million rectal exams.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is, I know, it is a lot. And you see no poop on me, so it's okay.
Oh, that's incredible. And I guess you have to do it that way because they're a big animal. And I'm sure if you put it just on the outside of their hide, you probably wouldn't see anything, would you? Like, I mean, they're a thick coat and thick hide, right?
They are a thick coat and a thick hide. You've got to remember that these cows are actually, their skin is leather. And so we can't really penetrate that deep and get that high into their abdomen in order to see that uterus to determine whether or not that cow is pregnant. So the easiest, and it's not painful for the cow. It causes no harm to them. And they don't even notice, honestly. Most of them stand still for it. It's a real quick, I can scan a cow in less than 2 minutes most of the time, as long as there's nothing abnormal for me to find. If there's an abnormality, if she may not be quite as healthy, I'm going to take a little bit longer to be more thorough and to find out what the cause might be going on with her.
Right. No, and that's really important. Just like when humans go to the doctor and they get their ultrasound if they're pregnant and expecting, it's how you take care of them. So absolutely, it makes sense.
Absolutely. And we want to monitor that calf throughout her pregnancy. I did bring a few other goodies to share with you today. I have an odd habit of collecting some bone specimens. I really enjoy anatomy and physiology. I actually worked in the anatomy lab while I was in veterinary school as a part-time job. And so I've collected a few bones over the years, and I brought a few to share with our listeners today because I think it's really interesting to see. This is actually a cow skull, and cows are unique in that they are ruminants, and so are sheep and goats. And what that means is they have a rumen, which we can go back to the beginning here, and cows have 4 stomachs. That first stomach is a rumen. It's not like us. We have 1 stomach. Being a ruminant means that they've got that big rumen as their first stomach so they can digest all that grass and that yummy hay that we feed them. But what it also means is that they have no top teeth on the top part of their skull here, right? In the top part of their jaw, they have no top teeth. They have what we call a dental pad. And that allows them to actually mush and grind up that hay and that silage and that yummy feeds that we're going to feed them. We can compare that to a horse. So I don't know if any, although I don't work on horses, I do have a horse skull. I don't know if any of our listeners have a horse, but horses are a little different. They are not ruminants, so we do not have a rumen, and therefore we do have top teeth on the top of their skull. So you can see this horse's big teeth. And if you think of how a horse will eat, they'll go out in that grass in the pasture and they'll chomp down and bite down on that grass to pull it up. Versus a cow, when you guys were scanning the cows earlier, you'll see that the cows take their tongue and they go and soak up that and just take a whole big mouthful of that food and chew it and smush it around in their dental pad. So it's a really interesting part of the anatomy that's different between the species.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also brought this cow femur bone that is from a cow, actually. And we can think about which bone is the femur in our body. And the femur is your thigh bone. So you think of your big bone of your leg, your top bone of your leg, and that's what this bone is. So when you picture a cow, this is going to be into her hip joint, and then her kneecap, just like your kneecap, will sit right here and slide back and forth. So it's really neat to be able to compare the different species together because we're not too far apart from our animal species.
That looks huge, which explains a little bit why, that these cows are so big and why you need to ultrasound like you do. And it really explains everything. That is a big bone. How much does that weigh? I mean, you picked it up, but we can't really see how much it weighs.
Well, it's really hard to judge because in order for us to process, obviously in the animal, you have bone and then it's surrounded by lots of muscle and then we've got the skin over it. So when we go to get the bone to this condition, because this is a real bone, this was in an animal at one point, we take the skin off, we've taken the muscles off, but inside of the bone is bone marrow. And you may have heard that term before, but that bone marrow is very fatty in every animal, including us. And so it weighs a lot. But in order for us to process these bones, in order to make them clean to use for teaching and things like this, we have to take that marrow out of there. So I can sit here and lift this weight all day long, but the bone is actually pretty light at this point because that marrow is out of that cavity. These skulls are pretty heavy just because there is a lot of bone with them because they're so big and the jaws are very heavy.
Right.
I did bring a few other bones. This is a rib from a cow. So you might think of your ribs if everybody goes ahead and goes, takes a deep breath, right? You're thinking of your rib cage expanding. Well, here's our cow rib. You can picture her taking a big breath and expanding that rib cage. Imagine if she had another one here. You can see how wide those ribs are. They really are a fascinating animal.
They are.
I thought I'd show you another thing here. We're going to spin around. You may have, if anybody has seen any other veterinarians before, you may have seen them work out of a truck with a unit in the back. And so all of their medications are there. And I talked with some of the students this morning if they've ever watched Dr. Oakley. I don't know if you've seen Dr. Oakley. That's the one veterinary show I like to watch on TV. She sometimes works out of an airplane.
Wow.
But when you're Alaska, that's what you got to do. I actually work out of an SUV. So I have a veterinary unit in the back of my car here. And with that, I've got some drawers where I can have access to some syringes and needles if I need to be giving any medications to the animals. I've got some of my medications here that I might need or might use in our animals. I've got some fluids in case the animal gets dehydrated. Like when you've gone to the hospital, if you've ever needed IV fluids, and hopefully you haven't, but I've got fluids so we can do that to the animal as well. And then every time I leave a farm, I have my bucket and my brush, and I've got some scrubs and disinfectants. So for biosecurity reasons, I can clean myself up when I go to leave the farm.
Sure.
I set out some of our medications. I think it's always fun to see if I don't know if you've ever taken an antibiotic or a pill, or maybe you bummed your shoulder and needed to take some Advil. Well, we've got some medications here. We give cows pills too. And I have some of them sitting out here so you can see how big their pills are that we might give to a cow.
Oh, they're as big as your hand.
They are big, but you got to remember that size of that skull. They swallow this size, no problem whatsoever. Right. No need for applesauce or a spoonful of sugar to get these down their throat.
I believe it. Because they've got long throats and big heads, and they're, how much does a cow weigh on average? Like 1,200
Our
pounds
average
or so?
yes, our average lactating cow, we're going to be 12 to 1,500 pounds. So certainly more than you or I weigh. And that's why we've got to be able to restrain them and to handle them and work with them without both them getting injured or us.
Sure. Absolutely. Dr. Cole, I have a question for you. So you've gone over all this really cool stuff and you get to work with the animals and you get to have fun with the bones and you get to see all this cool stuff. Whatever made you decide to be a vet? I know you said you came from a farm, but what was kind of that aha moment for you when you were like, this is what I want to do? And, what were you interested in that got you to wanting to be a vet?
Yeah, so that's a very complex question, right? So obviously I was familiar with cows growing up with them and working with them and handling them. But honestly, it's the science background that really interests me. My love for biology and science and the physiology and the organs and the tissues and how everything works together is really what I like doing. I remember growing up, besides being in 4-H, but I did like an explorers club, which is an offset of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And they would have a little meeting and we could touch some tissues. And that was really exciting for me. I really enjoyed the complexity of all that biology put together. It's interesting because as you go through your undergraduate career and whatever pathway you end up taking, you get to see all the different types of things you can do in animal science, in biology, and in agriculture as well. And you're just so amazed by the different things that you can do. So although I am a practicing veterinarian, there's definitely some things to think about with that other things you can do in the veterinary field. Being in the military, working for a pharmaceutical company, even teaching in academia. And I'll touch on this briefly, but totally different than being a farm veterinarian. I on the side this fall am teaching an human anatomy and physiology class at our local university, at Bloomsburg University. So even with my veterinary degree, you can go out and do something like that. The one thing I really emphasize is that a lot of people want to say, I love animals and that's why I want to be a veterinarian. And that is a great thing. Obviously, we've got to love the animals and want to take care of them and keep them healthy. And in the best condition for whatever purpose they're going to be. But the one thing we really have to do is veterinary medicine is also about the people and working with a great group of producers and farmers. And you can't see it, but I actually just got goosebumps because that's what really drives me every day, is making my producers happy, healthy, profitable, their animals along the same line. And so we really have to think about that. What you really like about veterinary medicine is the fact that we tie both science and animals and people all together.
See your passion for veterinary medicine and taking care of these animals and talking with the people. We did have another question come in. They asked, how many cows do you end up working with in one day? What's your kind of like, I know you said earlier your day is never the same, but what's on average the number of cows you get to work with in a day?
Well, it sort of depends how far I need to travel. So most of my days, I do head out pretty early and I could be driving as close as 10 minutes away or as far as like an hour and 15 minutes away from my home office at that point. And I start off with routine preventative medicine that we've been talking about at some of my dairies. And I might go anywhere to 1 to 5 dairies in a morning, depending on how much work we have to do and the size of the farm. From there, then I'll fill in the rest of my day with any sick calls. So someone calls and say, hey, this animal has a bellyache, or we don't know what's wrong with this calf. Or even that type of emergency where maybe an animal broke its leg or decided to cut itself, or is in labor and needs help. Those are the true emergencies that I'm like, okay, we need to go ahead and reschedule to go do that. And so I'll fill in the rest of my day with that. I'll be honest, some days I finish my work at noon and some days I finish my work at 7 o'clock at night. There's a lot of variation in my daily schedule because I'm not driving to the same farms every day. And so I like to say, that my schedule is actually consistently inconsistent because I never quite know where I'm going to end up as far as what county, what farm, what species I might be working on, because it could be any of our farm animals, or even what I might be doing for any one of those stops. So I do need to be prepared for all of those. My family needs to, it takes a certain commitment from my family to be able to handle that type of schedule as well. And that's something we all work on together in trying to make our life a little more stable.
Right. No, absolutely. That makes sense. And I love your why. And I love hearing about that. Dr. Cole, we have one last thing for you. If you just want to go ahead and give any last remarks or, best wishes or things to keep in mind or anything to anyone that's listening about, what it's like to be a vet before we head on over to our next professional.
Sure. I just want to say, I don't know if it's our connection is a little patchy. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay, but you're a little cloudy or fuzzy. Maybe you took a dive in a pool because you sound a little bit underwater at this point.
I can't hear you. I was told that, for some reason I'm gurgly. I'm not sure. We can hear you just fine.
Okay, that's fine. I think I understood your question. You just would like a little bit of an overview on one last final comment about some things about what I enjoy about veterinary medicine. And I don't know if we can pan out and see our backdrop here, but I just want to point out, like, this is where I get to work every day, right? I get to drive around the countryside. I get to see beautiful scenery. I get to act and interact with wonderful farmers and clients. And I get to handle these beautiful, majestic animals. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about what I do. And what I really love about it is the variety every day, the kind of the spice of it. And just the interactions with my clients are really what makes my day fun and make me enjoy what I do every day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Cole. Am I better at all?
You're great now.
Awesome. Okay.
Perfect.
Technology is just wonderful sometimes.
It works great when it does, and unfortunately we can't live without it.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you so much. This was really a lot of fun getting to talk with you. We're getting lots of hearts and people saying I love cows, and thank you so much. So thank you so much for just a wonderful presentation. And I would love to see, as we switch over to our next professional, share with us what you learned. Is there anything new that you learned? Because, man, Dr. Cole really shared a lot of cool things with us. So go ahead and put in that chat if you learn anything new. And Dr. Cole, we'll have to let you know if anyone comments and see if you got a chance to.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we will talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. So if we can go ahead and bring on our next professional. Thank you again, Dr. Jody Cole. That was really a lot of fun getting to chat with you and just really getting to learn what a veterinarian really gets to do. So it seems like her day is always different. Veterinarians can be all shapes and sizes and get all kinds of education and really just have an awesome day on the farm. So thank you so much again, Dr. Cole. We had a lot of fun. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can get the other team to come back on. We have another professional with us.
Your name again, I'm sorry.
It looks like we have our Princess Michaela ready to rock and roll for you. So they are going to go ahead and introduce our next professional. Take it away.
Hello again. I am with a new person. His name is Ruben, and he is a feed specialist for Wenger Feeds. And today he's going to talk to you about what he does at the farm. He's got some bees he's going to talk to. So thank you so much, Ruben, for being here today.
Awesome. We cannot wait to talk to you, Ruben. And I think I might be able to see there's a table there that we might have some more things we get to check out. So I'm really excited to see all of that. We are a little bit glitchy out where you're at right now. So just FYI. So just to our camera team, maybe try and just stay as still as possible so we can make sure we can hear everything Ruben has to say. And then we should be good to go. So and right now, our camera is frozen. There we go. Okay, we're back up and running. So Ruben, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and take it away.
Sure. So, like you said, my name is Ruben Channel. I work for Wenger Feeds. And so what I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do day to day as I'm working with our researchers.
Oh, I am so sorry. It looks like they might have just hopped off. Can our other camera team maybe come on over to Ruben and see if we can get him on a headset here. So we want to make sure we can hear you, Ruben. We apologize for this. Being out on a farm sometimes, we are working with rural internet and rural technology. So we are doing our best here, folks. But let me see. We're going to go check that chat to see if anyone said about what they learned. So let's see. We learned some. We love getting to hear from the vet. Oh, thanks, Josie. We're glad you learned a little bit from the vet. And let's see. We've also we have someone who has Shine in the Adopt a Cow program, which is awesome. And we'll have to ask. Someone had asked, you remember the name of the first cow? And I think that was for Dr. Cole. So we'll have to ask her to see if she remembers the first cow she ever got to work on. But while it looks like we are back up and running and our video looks clear and it looks like we've got Ruben back with us. So Ruben, I just need your team to unmute you and then you should be good to go. So if we can get them to.
Are we good? Should I switch? All
right. There we go.
How about now?
Oh, that is perfect. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Ruben.
Okay, good. So I don't know if you heard anything I said before, yes or no?
No, we did not.
Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, like you said, I'm Ruben Kennel. I work with Wenger Feeds. I work with our dairy producers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we work with them to work with the feeds that they have on the farm and the feeds that we can offer as a feed mill to balance their rations and help their cows to produce as cost effectively and as well as possible. So I'm going to start out a little bit talking about the feeds that are grown on the farm, because that is actually the most of what the cows eat in their diet are feeds grown on the farms. And so around this area, some of the feeds, the common feeds that are used on farms, corn silage is really big. Corn silage is used a lot. And of course, there's hay. If you can see behind me on this farm, there are pastures. So a lot of farms will have cows out on pasture in the summertime around here. And then, of course, there's hays, grass hays, alfalfas. We can have dried hays. And then also a lot of the things that we work with are helping the farmers to preserve their feeds through fermentation, to preserve those feeds so that we can get the most nutrients out of those feeds as possible for the cows. So I'm going to show you some examples of some feed samples. These feed samples would have been taken yesterday with some farmers that I met with. So here is, if you can see, that is a corn silage sample. In my bag of tricks here, I also have a hay sample. That would be a baleage, which is a wet, has moisture, so that is fermented, a fermented sample. And also then there's corn. Some farmers will keep their corn on the farm, and other farms will sell their corn, or some farms don't even grow corn. Some of the things that we talked about with some of the groups earlier today, every farm is different. So depending on climate, depending on the soils, depending on even as much as deer pressure. There are farms in some of the areas where you guys come from where they'll feed their cows all hay and we have to provide the rest from the feed mill. Other farms can have corn on the farm. And so this would be a sample of corn that is on the farm and stored on the farm. So after we take these samples, they get sent into our lab. And when they come to the lab, that lab will analyze them and we'll get sample results. So we're looking for some of the big things that are really important for dairy cows. Number one, protein. Number two, energy. And then, of course, there's all the vitamins and minerals and things that go along with that. But the main things that we look at for milk production first, day to day, are balancing that protein and energy level. So there's a certain amount of protein and energy that come out of the feeds. And so when we analyze those feeds, we look at inventories, we look at how many cows we have, how much we can feed those feeds throughout the year, and then we match those, make a ration, and match those with the feeds that a farmer might have to buy in off the farm to make a total ration for their cows. So that's a lot of what I do day to day. Working with our farmers, our producers, to come up with those rations. One of the interesting things maybe a lot of people haven't seen, this tool right here is one that I use a lot when I'm taking samples. So this tool is called a hay probe, and this is what I would have got this sample with. It has a sharp bit on the end with teeth that are sharpened, and I can use that drill and go right into the bale. It's hollow, so it fills up with hay, and then I could push that out into the bag and get that sample ready to be sent to the lab. Some of the other things that I have here, we can take water samples, we can take manure samples, we can do all sorts of samples to figure out what's going on the farm. One of the things that I've seen over the years, we can do really precise, scientific lab results, but it really also all comes down to the basics of animal husbandry, taking care of your animals. Our farmers do a really, really good job for the most part, taking care of their animals, making sure they have water, making sure they have feed, and those things are really important, making sure those cows are comfortable. So we work together with the farmer on those management sorts of things and on their feed ration to balance the ration for the cow. So that's really a lot of what I do from day to day. I guess I'll talk. I don't know how much you want me to go before we open it up to any questions anyone might have.
No, absolutely. So you've had some great visuals here, and I know I'm learning a lot as we're listening through to this. I guess something that you could talk about is maybe a little bit of schooling, or what did you have to do to get to your position, and what was something that interested you to make you choose this as your career? Because, I would say not many people realize there's a nutritionist for cows. So, how did you get to this point in your life?
Right. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of an interesting story. Early on, my schooling, I started out in my college schooling is more, I started out along the lines of biology, pre-vet, pre-med track, and decided at some point along the line that wasn't for me. But I grew up working on a dairy farm. My dad was a vet. I grew up with cows, showing cows and heifers in 4-H. And so that's always been in my blood. And so as I went through school, more of a straight biology type of a degree, but then ended up working with a conservation district out of school, working with farms there. Actually spent a little bit of time in a construction field, but then, I think the ag has always been in my blood, and so eventually came back to the ag industry and started working with the feed mill and with the dairy nutrition. So that's my story. And I guess I guess what I'd say about that is the dairy nutrition, it doesn't have to be a really, really specific track as far as your schooling goes. Anything in animal science, dairy science, biology, even chemistry is very helpful. And I would say with experience in your background, wouldn't even have to be a 4-year degree. I have a 4-year degree, but it wouldn't have to be that. So yeah, any other questions that way?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Let me look here real quick to see if we've got anything else. Do you work with a lot of farms? What's kind of your average day look like as a nutritionist?
You broke up there a little bit on your question there.
Oh, sorry. What's your average day look like as a nutritionist? Do you go on a lot of farms? Is it some office work? What's that kind of look like?
Yeah. So basically the way things are set up in the industry in general, with our dairy customers, we're on basically see our customers about every 2 weeks for most of our customers. So I have a schedule. I'm in certain areas certain days, every 2 weeks. So any given day, it depends on how far I have to travel to get into those areas. I might see anywhere from, I don't know, 4 to 6 or 8 farms per day, and basically just go from farm to farm and meet with them, evaluate their cows, see how they're doing, see if there's any changes that are needed in their feed programs. Just meeting with the guys and gals, and just working with them to make things run efficiently and cost effectively with their feed rations.
Wonderful. Great. Let's see, looking at some other questions here. What do you think is like the key skill to have to be a nutritionist? What's the one thing that you really think is important to be successful at your job?
Well, I think at my job, I mean, there's a few things. I don't know if I can say one thing. Obviously, I mean, I'm with people all the time, so the ability to really be a good listener, and also ask good questions at a basic level. Besides, the training and the schooling, that is obviously very important. But as far as people skills are really important, listening skills are really important. Being able to go on a farm and really see and evaluate what's going on, and ask good questions to figure things out, troubleshoot, problem solving. Those sorts of things are really important in my job, and really rewarding too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that's very rewarding, and you get to work with all those farms and like you said, troubleshoot. You really get to help them figure out what could be wrong. As a farmer,
Right.
there's all kinds of things that could happen. The weather could just be affecting it, or maybe something needs to be different in their feed. So you come to help figure those things out, right? And help them get it right.
Yep.
So those cows are happy and healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that makes the job really interesting and really fun is that there are so many, even within the dairy industry, there's so much diversity in types of farms that we get out on. I mean, we can be anywhere from here at Whitenights, where it's 25 or 30 cows. There's a lot of pasture. They have raw milk that they sell, kind of a really interesting niche type of a market going on. And then, we work with also a lot of conservative or Amish farms, where they're farming with horses, and they have their challenges that way, milking in tie stalls and a pipeline. And then we have farms that milk hundreds of cows, and their cows are housed in a different way in freestall barn and feed bunks, and so there's just a lot of variety, a lot of different types of people that we work with as far as how they manage their facilities and the equipment that they have, the technology that they use or don't use. So it makes things really interesting and also challenging.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This has been really wonderful. I know I've learned a lot today, and I'm sure everyone else has too. And these have been great questions. Ruben, are there any last minute things that you'd like to share with us about your career, or just in general, words of wisdom to anyone before we hop on over to our last professional of the day?
I don't think I have a whole lot. Just thanks for having me. It's been really fun to get to talk to you guys and to share a little bit about what I do. And I hope it's been helpful as you all on the call, on the tour, really try to decide what it is that you enjoy and what you want to do. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was great chatting with you. And we're going to go ahead and get ready for our next professional as our team moves over to the next one. So thank you truly, Ruben, for sharing with us what you do. Many farmers do rely on their nutritionists to develop a very well-balanced diet for their cows to eat. And Ruben is just one of those many nutritionists who are doing an excellent job. And you could see the science and the biology that are just really important for him to be successful. And as he said, he needed a degree, and he happened to come from a background of dairy, but you don't have to come from a background of dairy. You can just love animals and want to learn more about the biology and understanding how a cow can digest food and be a nutritionist. So it's a really awesome opportunity. So thank you, Ruben, so much for sharing that with us. And it looks like our team is at our third and final professional on the farm here today. And I am going to ask them to go ahead and unmute themselves, and then we can go ahead and introduce, and Princess Michaela will go ahead and introduce our final professional.
Hello again. I have a new friend with me. His name is Andy, and he is with Ag Choice Farm Credit. And he is going to talk to you all about what he does and what he how he helps out the farmers. So thank you for coming today, Andy.
Awesome. We're excited to have you, Andy. And we've got a lot of excited people to hear what you've got to say. And we'll get the headset on right here. So awesome. So thank you so much for hopping on today and just talking to us about what your job is like and what you do. So I'll let you go ahead and take it away and introduce yourself and tell us about your career.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So my name is Andy McCarty. I am a crop insurance specialist with Farm Credit, Ag Choice Farm Credit. Ag Choice Farm Credit is mainly known for its loan packages. We do home and land. We do a lot of taxes, business planning. We have a consultant group that works with us. And then we also do crop insurance, which I am actually one of 3 individuals within our territory. So my territory would actually be, if you can envision the map of Pennsylvania in front of you, you take State College, their main campus, Penn State, and you go straight across to New Jersey and straight up to New York. That would actually be my territory. There's a couple of counties in between there that overlap the lines, but that's actually my quadrant of the state. So with Farm Credit, like I said, they do a lot of credit. A lot of people do not know that we also do crop insurance, but that is one thing that we are expanding on within Ag Choice. So my background actually is I come from a small dairy farm, about 50 cows, where we have Holsteins, we've got registered Guernseys, Jerseys, red and whites as well. Show all over the US. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in agriculture. Went to Del Val for 4 years and then came back after that and got into an ag career from that. So I've been with Farm Credit for about 5 years now. Absolutely love my job. The part of my job I love the most is visiting with the producers, visiting with the farmers, actually out on their operation. So that's actually the best part of my job. The most, hard part of my job is trying to find the time to go to each one of these different farms because I have such a vast territory.
Right.
But I get a company car, so that's all good. It goes right to Farm Credit and I can just keep traveling.
Awesome. So it's definitely a perk, you know. I know as we've got some high schoolers on the call today that are thinking, gosh, what do I want to go to school for, and what do I want to think about being? Obviously, you know, thinking about what you can make and the perks that come with the job and having a really well-rounded lifestyle, that's important. So getting a company car, that's pretty cool. What drove you to want to do this? You know, you talked about your challenges and the good stuff, but what drove you to even want to work in crop insurance and working with having this job?
So you cut out a little bit there, but what was the question again?
What drove you to even to go for this job? What was the
Go
kind
for
of the
this
thing
job?
Yeah.
So yeah, so growing up on the farm, I mean, that's actually what spurred my interest in agriculture, not only dairy, but just agriculture in general, because I see how hard my grandfather worked, how hard my father worked on the farm, and just that knowing hard work, dedication actually does make a difference, and it does pass on to the next generation. And I want to kind of see that continue for generations to come. The one thing that I really kind of got me to crop insurance, and what I love about it is it's the seasonality of it. I mean, it's not just, working with dairy farms. It's not just working with corn and beans. I mean, I'm working in the fall during this lovely foliage season. I'm actually working in the combine, doing combine harvesting with guys. I'm actually in the orchard doing apples as well. So 1 week I'm riding around doing soybeans and corn. The next week I'm actually out picking in the orchards. So it's very, then you have grapes in there, you have corn and beans in the spring and during the summer, and then you have dairy all the time, 24/7, every day of the week. So it's definitely a vast territory that I cover, but a vast geographical knowledge base that I kind of go for crop insurance. So I have to
Wow.
be knowledgeable in each area actually of the agriculture territory.
Yeah, so it gives you a little bit of everything. I mean, you really get a chance to experience all of agriculture and not just dairy. So maybe someone's
Yes.
listening that you're like, man, I really do like a lot of agriculture, or I'm interested in it, and I just don't, I don't know, maybe cows aren't specifically your thing. This sounds awesome. You get to work with dairy cows, you get to work with the farmers, but then you also get to do a little bit of everything else. So that is pretty cool. I like that. Another question we've had for you are, what are some key skills you need to be in this position? What is kind of that key skill you think is most important to make you successful?
Yes. So I was waiting for that question, and I am a huge fan of Mike Rowe on Facebook. I follow him all the time. Dirty Jobs. I mean, love the show. I think there's a huge movement right now in the industry, not only agriculture, but just skills and trades in general. And I don't believe that you need a college education to pursue a career, of your choice in agriculture or the trades as well. I firmly believe that a lot of what I knew and what I know now kind of was learned on the job, hands-on training. A lot of employers actually prefer that sometimes, so they can teach you how the right way to do things, how they want to do things. And you're not bringing any bad habits along with you. So I do come with an ag background. I do come with a college background. I graduated from Delaware Valley, which is another ag school in Pennsylvania that's not Penn State. But it's I loved every minute while I was there. I would encourage anybody that has an interest in agriculture to actually reach out to their high school counselors, the teachers that they work with, because they're there to kind of help you navigate what your passion is. And I think if you follow your passion and what you want to do in life, you're going to be successful, because you're going to dedicate the time and energy to what you're passionate about, and it's just going to grow from there.
Awesome. That is awesome. I'm looking to see if we've got any questions at all coming in for you. Is being a crop insurance agent and working in this job, is it hard? Or, I guess it's a very vague question, but it's a good question. Is it hard work, or do you find it enjoyable? Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so my job, my position actually, it is challenging at times, definitely. I think that with my position, the challenging part is trying to, since my territory is so vast, trying to get to all of the different operations in a timely manner. So that would be one of the challenging portions of it. However, it's just with technology today, pre-COVID was totally different how I do things compared to post-COVID. And we're not fully out of COVID, actually, to be honest. So pre-COVID, I was doing a lot more on-farm visits, actually meeting with the producers on their time, their terms. I still do that now, but with more flexibility. So I do a lot of virtual training. I do a lot of virtual, if I want to go through acres reports with my producers. We can do that online. We can do it face-to-face. We can do it, over the phone. We can actually just do it with some of the options, like go-to meetings, stuff like that. I've actually planted fields with guys over FaceTiming them with an iPhone, actually. So I just kind of hold it up over the map, and he kind of leads me through the farm. So it's definitely comes with its own unique challenges, but it's a welcoming challenge to keep kind of going through that.
Right, absolutely. This has been
If that
really,
answers your question.
It does, yeah. It sounds like, it's not necessarily hard. It's just a lot of different things, a lot of moving pieces in this position, and it's never dull. It sounds like you're always on your feet and really just get to be involved with a lot of different people. As we wrap up here today, and we're gonna finish our day with Farmer Rosie, just to let her kind of wrap us up, or sorry, not Farmer Rosie, Farmer Melissa, and let her wrap up today and answer any last minute questions. But before we go to her, do you have any last things you'd like to share with us about your career? Words of wisdom for anybody that is maybe interested in this?
Thanks. Just last minute things. I would encourage, all, kids, students to actually follow their passion, into what they're actually passionate about. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, you're there to learn. The educators there are there to help you, guide you. So definitely follow your passion. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
We really appreciated having you today. And as you could see, Farmer Melissa was ready for us, and she's going to be hanging out with the kitty cat, it looks like. And I apologize. Farmer Rosie was our farmer in our morning farm tour this morning. So, but we today have Farmer Melissa with us now. And Farmer Melissa, thank you so much for letting us tour your farm today, for showing us your adorable baby calves, for showing us where your cows get to eat, sleep, and hang out all day. And then it was really great getting to chat with all the professionals that work with you day in and day out. You provide a really wholesome, healthy product for people to consume right from the farm. So it's important to have really smart, knowledgeable people surrounding you to give you the best advice, and so you can make the best business decisions moving forward. So truly, thank you so much. And I'd love for you to just share any last minute thoughts you'd like to share with everybody, and give us a little send off before we head into our Kahoot game. So to wrap up today, just a little shout out to everybody quick. We will be doing a Kahoot game to wrap up today. So get Kahoot ready. And we have a little 8-question quiz to see what you remember from today's tour. So go ahead, Farmer Melissa, and wrap it up for us today.
Well, it was great having everybody come visit us at the farm. We're so excited that you guys could be with us. Excellent questions. Andy had great advice. Ask questions, tons of questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and just explore the options that you think you're interested in. You can learn so much through just trial and error. So good advice, Andy.
Awesome.
And thanks for joining us here at Whitenight Family Farm.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been great chatting with you, Farmer Melissa. We will talk to you later. I don't think we have any other questions coming in. So we are good to go to wrap it up for today. So we're going to jump into that Kahoot questions, into that Kahoot game. So thank you so much, Farmer Melissa. You are off the hook for today. It was a pleasure getting to chat with you.
Thanks, Brittany.
All right. So we are going to go into a Kahoot game. So if you want to go ahead and get Kahoot ready, we're going to see what you can remember from today's tour. You can either hop on your phone or a mobile device or a computer, whatever works for you. We're going to share our screen so you can see the pin for the game. And then we're going to go through those 8 questions and see who our smartest listener is of the day. So we are going to, here we go. All right. Here is our pin, 7063048. So go ahead and put that pin in, 7063048, and go ahead and throw in your name, and we will get started with this game. I know there's a little bit of a delay between when we're sending it to you here and then you guys getting it on YouTube. So we'll wait about a minute here to let everyone join in. So again, 7063048 is the pin, and we just have a fun little game here that we're gonna go some 8 questions and see what you remember from the tour today. All right. Looks like we're getting some folks hopping on here. All right, and individual students can hop on if you have individual devices. Feel free. Turn turn that down for you guys so it's not too loud. All right, we'll give you some time to hop on here yet. All right. All right, I'm gonna give it about 10 seconds here. And then we'll get started and see what you can remember from the tour today. All right, hopefully you were able to join on here and we will see who who has the best memory from today. All right, here we go. We're gonna get started. Okay. So this is from Whitenight Family Farm. It's the recap. You should be able to see the questions and answers on your device. They will pop up on your phone before they pop up on the screen here. So when was the Whitenight Family Farm established? Was it 2001, 2015, 1800s, or 1986? Do we remember when they were established? Let's see. When was the Whitenight Family Farm established? Let's see. All right. And the correct answer was 1800s. Very nice job. All right, let's see. Nobody got that right. Oh no. All right, we'll have to try it on the next one. How many generations of this family have been in farming? 6, 2, 8, or 4? How many generations of this family have been in farming? 6, 2, 8, or 4? Let's see, and that beautiful picture there is actually a picture of their landscape looking out from the barn. It's a really beautiful landscape up where they are in northeast Pennsylvania. And if anyone's not from Pennsylvania that's joined us today, that's all the way up in that top portion of New England area of the United States. And right now we are kind of in chilly weather up here in Pennsylvania. It's about 55, 60 degrees. All right, let's see what our answers were today. They were, yes, 6. It's been 6 generations of dairy farming specifically. Very nice. Let's see. Awesome girls are first, the Flash is second, and Bianca is in third. Let's see, question number 3. What breed of dairy cattle are primarily raised and milked at Whitenight Family Farm? Were they Jerseys, Ayrshires, Holsteins, or Guernseys? So what breed of dairy cattle are primarily raised and milked at Whitenight Family Farm? Jerseys, Ayrshires, Holsteins, or Guernseys? So if we can remember what color they are, they have a few different breeds, but what was predominantly on their farm? Do we remember? They were kind of the brown kind. That's a little hint. All right, let's see. Jerseys, yes, ta-da, congratulations. Most of you guys got that right. That's awesome. Yes, those are those beautiful baby brown cows that have the beautiful black eyes, circles around their eyes. Jerseys are adorable. So the Flash moving up, very nice. Number 4 out of 8. How many cows do the Whitenights milk on their farm? Here's a picture of them when they're out on pasture. Do they milk 120, 70, 25, or 100? What do we think? 120, 70, 25, or 100? Let's see what we can remember. Kind of picture their barn. Trying to remember how big their barn was. How many cows do the Whitenights milk on their farm? All right, let's see. Yes, 25 cows they have on the farm. It's a pretty small farm, but they only need a couple of cows to be able to produce the raw milk and cheese that they produce. So that's their niche market. They actually produce their milk specifically so they can provide it to you as a consumer directly. All right, looks like LAC pulled to the lead. Next, number 5. What type of milking parlor is used at Whitenight Family Farm? So what type of parlor? This would have been said right in the very beginning. Is it a rotary parlor, a herringbone parlor, a parallel parlor, or a step-up parlor? Do we remember what kind of parlor that they are in? It was actually something I said, and they might have, I believe Farmer Melissa also said it in her video. So do we remember what kind of milking parlor they use? And these are all different kinds of parlors that different farms use across the country. We'll see. Each farm uses what makes sense for them. All right, and all right, a herringbone parlor, correct. We have 5 who got that right. It is a herringbone parlor. When they come in both sides and their udders, their nose go in first and their udders are close to the middle so the farmer can get to milking them very easily. All right, LAC, you're still in the lead. Number 6 out of 8, 3 more questions to go. What do Jeff and Melissa Whitenight do with their milk from their dairy cows? So Jeff is Melissa's husband. What do they do with their milk from their dairy cows? Might have given you a hint on this one earlier. They feed their calves pasteurized milk. A milk truck picks their milk up for a milk processing plant. They process their milk on the farm to sell PA certified raw milk, or they make their own cheese on the farm. Which one is it? Do you remember where we were at that we got to see what they do on the farm on the tour? We went into what processing plant on their farm? What did we see them do? Awesome. Yes, they process their own milk on the farm and sell PA certified raw milk. So I know a bunch of you might have thought they make their own cheese. They make their own cheese, but they don't physically do it. They actually send off their milk to somebody else and get the cheese made. So the correct answer is yes, they process their own milk and bottle it and have a certified raw milk. So LAC, you are continuously on a streak of getting those right. Very nice. Number 7, which sustainable farming practice has been implemented at Whitenight Family Farm? Do they do rotational grazing? Do they do no-till planting? Do they do water diversion swales? Or do they do all of the above? Rotational grazing is when cows are out on their pasture and the farmer moves them from pasture to pasture to let them eat different fields. No-till planting is when you don't till up the ground to plant and it keeps the ground in place, which helps prevent runoff. And water diversion swales are when you create paths for the water to go as when it rains. That way they don't, it helps prevent runoff and helps keep the ground and the dirt where it belongs. Let's see. Yes, blue, all of the above. All of those are correct. They do all of them. They are really great stewards of the land and do a really great job of taking care of their animals, farm, and cows. All right, LAC, you're rocking it here, but looks like the flash is still up there and Awesome Girls is in 3rd. Last question to pull ahead. Which factor is most important to Jeff and Melissa on the Whitenight Family Farm? Do they care most about the comfort of their cows? Do they care most about the land that they buy? Do they care most about the size of their herd? Or do they care most about the amount of milk they produce? Which one do you think they care about the most? They care about cow comfort, the amount of land that they have, the size of their herd, or the amount of milk they produce. And here's a picture of their milk that they process on their farm, and then the cheese that they send off the milk to get processed, and then they sell their own. They sell the cheese that's made from their milk. Let's see. What do you think is the most important to Jeff and Melissa? Yes, cow comfort, absolutely. We can't have a good dairy farm without good cow comfort. That is just how it goes. So they care deeply about those cows. In third place, we've got the awesome girls. In second place is the Flash. And in first place, LAC. Very nice job, everybody. You guys were really paying attention. It looks like Olivia and someone else was in fourth, and it just went away on the fifth place for me. But very nice job, everybody. We had a lot of fun playing that game with you. Thank you so much. Truly, we are appreciative of you joining in. Melissa was a great host today, and her farm is just beautiful, and we're really glad you had a chance to see it. Congratulations to our winners of today's game, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a moveless day and enjoyed learning about some awesome careers on these dairy farms. Take care, everybody, and we hope you enjoy.